welcome to Lit Valentine. It's my pleasure to welcome you all once again. I hope some of you will be feel upset and some will be feel so happy as you have received your key answer for the net exam. It's okay guys, if you people are not scoring much well, it's okay. You have time because from nowadays it's been declared that a net exam is going to held on once in a year, so you will have plenty of time to read and study, and it's all up to us. Okay, so don't bother about that. Let the past be past. Let concentrate on the future. So with this positive vibe, let's begin our day with the beautiful idioms. So let's move on to the next slide. Idioms of the day. The first word is, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. It means it's not complicated. If you want to utter or state the word like it's not complicated, you can use the idiom it's not rocket science. The next word is, make a long story short. Make a long story short. It means tell something briefly. Tell something briefly is an usual word, okay? Is an usual word. So instead of using the same word like tell something briefly, you can use the idiom make a long story short. The next word is pull yourself together. It means calm down. Calm down is an usual word, right? So instead of using the usual word like calm down, you can use the idiom pull yourself together. And with this, let's come to the fresh topic. Today, the lecture is about Francis Bacon. So far in the previous videos, we have talked about the Greek classicism, Roman classicism, Old English literature, Middle English literature, and Renaissance, Reformation, and we have seen about Philip Sidney and Francis Bacon. Before that, we have talked about Edmund Spencer and all their important works, and we have talked about the detailed lecture on those people. And today we are going to focus on Francis Bacon. Please don't worry about anything because all the keywords which I am mentioning here will be illustrated in a detailed manner, my dear friends. So keep on listening to the videos posted in Lit Valentine. So with this, let's talk about Francis Bacon. First, the early life of Francis Bacon. If you take Francis Bacon, he was born on 3 years before Shakespeare, that is on 1561, and he died 10 years after Shakespeare, it was on 1626. So keep these small shortcuts in your mind which will help you to score your chronology. Okay, so his father was so influential man, and so both of them became the Lord Keeper of the Lord Chancellor, a big post on Elizabethan England. He became famous during the time of King James I of England, and he was a very major scientist and philosopher in England. Bacon was believed to be the real author of Shakespeare's play that is called Baconian heresy. We don't believe that actually, but it was believed to be the real author of Shakespeare's play. Who is that? Is Bacon. So this is called as Baconian heresy. He was also a lawyer, a big courtier, a very ambitious man. And with this, let's move on to the next slide. Alexander Pope called him the wisest, brightest, meanest of mankind because Bacon was the protege for the Earl of Essex. Later, when Queen Elizabeth became angry toward Earl of Essex, Bacon was in charge of trying the Earl of Essex, and he sentenced his patron to death. That is Bacon, but he was a very great intellectual person. And with this, we have to see that he supported scientific revolution of the 17th century. He revised the Aristotelian method and developed what is called the Baconian method. He wrote both in Latin and English, and he had a very great idea to develop the sciences in such a way that it will once again make the man the center of the universe. It will give a man a great power. This idea is called the Great Instauration or Great Instauratio Magna. He developed this idea in Organum and The Advancement of Learning, which are the two modern works of philosophy by Bacon. Now we think that he was really a philosopher, but we think he is an essayist. But really, in other disciplines, remember Bacon and study him not in the form of essays, but in terms of the other works. To reduce him to be an essayist alone is wrong, my dear friends, because he is a versatilist too. Okay. Bacon's essay is also a part of philosophical projects actually. His essays based on practical everyday philosophy. Essays, counsels, civils and moral, that is what he's talked about. His titles of his essay at first he talked about, and first he made 10 essays. He published 10 essays actually, then he published 38 essays, and finally it came down as 58 essays. Altogether 58 essays of Bacon are published in his lifetime. And the famous of his essays is Of Studies. It is a very famous essay of Bacon, and among that we have essays like Of Truth, Of Parents and Children, Of Friendship, Of Gardens, Of Marriage and Single Life, and so and so. So many everyday things had write about it in his essays to teach us the everyday things. He talked about the everyday things, and he talked about all these things in his essays. He gave pieces of advice for everyday life. And what are the features of his essays is like it were very small essays but were very brief, showing practical approach to life. Some of his essays touched by Machiavellianism. How you appear is really more important than what you are is actually the Machiavellianism talked about. That idea is there in many of his essays, and they are aphoristic. Not only his essays are brief, every sentence is like epigrammatic, aphoristic statement. Every statement is like a proverb, and these essays are very learned. Classical illusions are there. References to mythology, quotations from great writers are provided in his essay. It shows Bacon's scholarship, and Bacon wrote an other important text. It is called Atlantis. It is not a book of essays. It is a book that shows utopian fiction based on Plato's Lost Atlantis, a lost island. Bacon envisaged an ideal place where there would be an ideal college called Solomon's House. He talked about an ideal college called Solomon's House, and he hoped that King James would establish that college in England, but not only in the restoration, but only in the restoration period was such a college established. If you take Bacon, Bacon was greatly interested in scientific experiments. He was experimenting the use of snow for the preservation of meat. That time he got pneumonia and he died due to that. When cold countries, if you take in cold countries, if you experiment with snow, you have to it have to do with the right precaution. Okay, when you are experimenting with snow in cold countries, you have to do with the right precaution. So Bacon died in the year 1626, and he in his works showed the true spirit of the Renaissance and pursuit of knowledge, living a properly ordered life like a gentleman, as you see in his essays, studying, researching on science. Rationalism is a very important aspect of the 19th century, that is in Jacobean period, and he was a man who was a visionary who understand that science has lot of advantages to humankind. At that time science was considered as black magic. Okay, that time science was considered as black magic. The scientific revolution that Bacon spear at later lead to big developments of the middle class society and neoclassicism. And if you take Bacon's classicism and scientific experiments are greatly influential in the coming years too. So with this we came to the end of the slide, my dear friends. Keep a reminder in your mind that related links are provided in every shorts and videos of Lit Valentine. Playlist also provided, so candidates who are pursuing English literature or apart from it can all get useful information in Lit Valentine. With this, stay tuned. Thank you. Subscribe Lit Valentine for more interesting update, my dear friends. Take care. Bye bye.